plunge. And once you get into cold plunging, it is probably that's what it was. It's the most addicting thing ever.
So you don't have to have gone around the block too much to know that ice baths are everywhere. You've got people like Dana White talking about them. You've got high-end athletes like Cristiano Ronaldo that are always using them. And all you need to do is go onto TikTok or any of the social media, swipe up, and you'll see that there's tons and tons of videos preaching about the benefits of ice baths, how they're so good for you and how they're really addictive and can help you break through plateaus, improve muscle soreness, and help grow and stimulate additional muscle growth, all sorts of things. We're going to cover today why ice baths are going viral, the practicalities of using ice baths, what you can expect from using an ice bath, the benefits of using them, because there are some, the price, and then also alternatives to using ice bath. So at the start of last year, before my ice bath popped, I had a Lumia ice bath and I was using it for about 6 months. And it started off really well. I was really enthusiastic. And I think psychologically in my mind, I thought, yeah, there's some great benefits to this. My variable heart rate, and I've talked about this in my Whoop video, did drop. But it's really hard to try and determine whether it was the actual ice bath that was causing this or whether it was my running or just general fitness, sleep, and what I was doing with my own body, including nutrition. So ice baths are going absolutely viral, largely because it's the new trend. Wim Hof was one of the first pioneers. Talked about cold water therapy, and he got some traction online with his breathing techniques. And then some other people jumped on board, and you had people like Joe Rogan, who is getting in his ice bath daily, Dana White, all these sort of people that are high-end, either business owners involved in UFC in some way, shape or form. And so as people started to get access to a portable ice bath, which tended to be things like the Lumia ice bath that you could have at home in your garden, you could change the water every few days, or you could buy some bromine tablets, started to get traction online. Everybody wants to be the person showing that they can do the hard thing right, okay? Everybody wants to show that they're the David Goggins of TikTok, right? And this was, if you couldn't run a 100-mile marathon, then maybe an ice bath was the next best thing. But here's what I found. The practicalities of actually using the ice bath weren't as great as the benefits. So you might go to the gym, and if your gym's further away from home, then when you've got to get back, you've got to get in the ice bath, you've got to then get all your clothes sorted, you've got to get out, dry yourself, and you might just spend 5 minutes in it, but then you've got to time it with a shower, because it says that if you have the ice bath and then you have a warm shower afterwards, kind of negates some of the benefits of it. You just find that awkwardly it's difficult to try and get it to fit in with your kind of lifestyle and what you need to do, and it feels like a real add-on. Like even though there was space in the garden, it was a bit seamless, and even if I had it in like a gym at home, I feel like it's just a bit of an add-on. It's a bit awkward. You're kind of in and out, and then I find like there's this like lull afterwards, which is like you're cold for a bit. Obviously, you've been in an ice bath, and sometimes I jumped in the ice bath in winter and it was like 1-2 degrees, and so it was absolutely freezing. But sometimes I just didn't find that benefit. Of course, it wakes you up straight away, but how much more does it wake you up than splashing your face with cold water? For me, it wasn't a great deal. Then, of course, you've got to find somewhere to put it. And if you're living in a flat or an apartment, or you've not got a big garden, it can be really impractical because you've got to access to somewhere to fill it up regularly. The bromine tablets may last, but they won't last forever. So it gets a little bit impractical unless you buy one that's a bit bigger and you have like a filter mechanism that you can replace and you can keep at a certain temperature. Which leads me to the next point, which is unless you have a regulator on it, in the summer it's going to be a little bit warmer, in the winter it's going to be too cold. And I always find like anything below 4 degrees, it starts to sting your body a little bit. It's just not pleasant. I feel like the benefit of the 6-7 degree temperature, which is I think whereabouts you want it, kind of fades away. What can you expect? You do feel good for a certain period of time after you've done it, but it's short-lived. Like I said, it feels like a little bit of an add-on. One of the things that I noticed, which is a key tracker of fitness, was my heart rate variability did drop. I did feel like I slept better, but as you can see from a lot of these published articles that I talked about online, a lot of this does seem to be placebo effect. Now, I really struggled to find an article that was like researched ice water or cold shock therapy for large sample groups. Like a lot of the studies were just, some of them were as like little as 2 people, and so it was hard to try and find any evidence really that had suggested that there was a significant improvement in any health benefit from long-term studies. So for example, if you look here, it talks around cold water immersion and active recovery and post-treatment. It talks about a key assumption of benefit and cold water immersion is that it reduces inflammation in skeletal muscle. So that would be like one of the natural benefits. But the abstract in this article that's published on the Journal of Physiology talks that there is no data available from humans to support this notion. And it compared the effects of cold water immersion and active recovery in inflammation and cellular stress responses from trained men to 24 and 48 hours after exercise. The article talks and extends into the fact that there was no significant improvement in any of the key physiological changes that you might expect to see from having ice baths. And there's plenty more articles you can have a look on PubMed that talk around those long-term sustainable studies. So if you do know any, you have seen any, of course, point me in the right direction. Now, there are some benefits, and I think the biggest benefit of all was it just wakes you the hell up, like a little bit more than a coffee would wake you up. But beyond that, I didn't really find any benefit, and I stopped using it after a while, largely because it popped, and then they sent me a replacement one, and I just got out of the rhythm of using it. They're not very expensive, which is a good thing, which makes them quite accessible. But you do need to pick up the accessories. You can't just leave it, for example, the Lumi one with an open lid. You'll just get all sorts of like bugs and leaves and dirt and stuff in. So you need ideally the lid that goes around the top and then the cover for over that. And that's the way it will last the longest. Most of all, I think, what alternatives can you have to an ice bath? Well, you could go running. You could go and do half an hour on the bike. Any form of exercise that's going to increase your heart rate is going to improve your overall fitness. And so for me, even going for a long walk, half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that, it's really going to improve and provide some benefit to your cardiovascular system that's going to overall improve the way that you sleep, improve how you're holding fat and water, improve your fitness, and improve your longevity.